Thank you very much. Welcome to today, Wednesday, 2nd April 2025. We are glad that you are joining us on this wonderful program, Emmanuel Mwamba Verified, where we verify burning issues, where we confirm the matters that are being discussed in our country. Today, we are discussing, number one, the issue of constitutional making process. It is very clear that government and President Hichilema is very determined to go ahead with this process. We will discuss the second issue of the Litunga and the Kuomboka ceremony that is due this weekend, and the invitation that was made to the King Letsie III of Lesotho, of the Kingdom of Lesotho. And Bank of Zambia launched a family of new currency of banknotes and their controversies that have sharply risen. Those are the issues that we are discussing today. Let me start with the issue of the Constitution. But before I go to the Constitution, let me play this video. The President was swearing in the new Minister of Local Government, and I think that his remarks have even gone on BBC. Let's just check.
Censure. When you are in public office, you must have self-censure, self-control, not to overindulge, not to extend long hours. In cabinet, somebody is sleeping at 10 hours. The question is that, where were they? At 10 hours, if you can start gonking there, to me, that is a crime, a serious crime. So how do you participate in a meeting where at 10 hours in a cabinet meeting you are sleeping? Just come on. What's the issue? Self-control, indulgence, self-control. The message is that you are not interested in the deliberation of cabinet on behalf of all of this. So why are you sitting there? Self-control. Even the Bible says, if you overindulge, you destroy yourself. Even if you have a good brain, you destroy yourself. I chose to say this in public. I've been saying it to my colleagues over and over.
The remarks by the President, where he alluded to certain members of his cabinet that sleep in cabinet, is a very serious revelation. The President needed to act on this matter. He just can't complain about it. And he says he's been complaining and he's been telling colleagues, and for the first time, he decided to make it public. I think that was not enough. Why would you allow your colleagues to sleep in government, in cabinet? Or is it the President? Because we know he can hold a press conference for 6 hours. He has demonstrated so. And anyone, you need to be of great stamina not to doze. So is it to blame too for his long lectures? Or is it that we truly have these drunk ministers, and various people on social media were speculating that which minister is this who is drunk? Are they 2, 3, 4, 5? Is this a drunk cabinet? Mr. President, I think the remarks are quite serious, and I think you needed to act on this drunkenness. You cannot have drunkards as your ministers. I remember that Dr. Kaunda, at one of the famous press conferences, fired a minister, and he says because he has taken to the bottle. Discipline is very important. And many people know, for example, if you have an important meeting the following day, you do not indulge. If you have a cabinet meeting coming up, and cabinet meetings are scheduled, they're usually every Monday, why would you take to drinking? It shows indiscipline. So if you have a major event, you have a sports event, you have a serious undertaking, even if you drink, your drink should never affect your work. But it is very clear that for these people, drink is affecting work. So I think that it's a serious matter, Mr. President. This matter even went to BBC. It reflects on your leadership. If you have any of your special aides, if you have any of your ministers whose indulgence has taken over them, I think you need to relieve them of their duties and allow sobriety. You are running a nation in crisis. You have 1 year, 4 or 5 months to go to an election. You are dealing with critical matters every day. You cannot afford for anyone to sleep at the wheel. Your boat will crash. Your vehicle will crash. Let's go to the issue of the constitution-making process. I saw this evening that the Zambia Congress of Trade Union has joined the fray, and their president was held a big conference, and he says his members, up to 60 affiliates, have joined in his call that they should have constitutional amendments before elections. But we are aware of this gentleman that, what can I say? He's been accused of being a member of the UPND, and that's a trouble when independent institutions are infiltrated by cadres. My dear brother, who is a good ZCTU leader, is a current president, I think he should have taken consideration of the interests of the country, the interest of his organization. ZCTU is not a small organization. Yeah, it has 20 affiliates. He should have conducted extensive consultation. We saw this with NGOCC too. And, you know, again, we feel that NGOCC didn't take a considerable time to consult. They are taking interest of government. So ZCTU President Blake Mulala today said they will support the constitutional amendments before the elections of 2026. This is already controversial. We've heard from, because what government does is going to parade that the narrative that the country has accepted constitutional amendments. So they'll look for trade unions, they'll look for students, they'll look for some compromised church mother body or so, or pastor. They'll look for some youths, they'll look for some groupings to attempt to demonstrate that this matter has been accepted when not. The Law Association of Zambia made it very, very clear that the proposed amendments, first of all, are just Bill 10 reloaded. The very proposals that President Hakainde Hichilema rejected. What has changed? And the issues that they wish to change, delimitation of new constituencies, highly, highly controversial. We saw the Electoral Commission of Zambia come on board and say, no, we are also doing our own consultation. We have the delimitation report of 2019 and we are updating it. All of a sudden, the reports that were done by the PF are very important, like they did on the currency. They are now saying the delimitation process was such a good document that the PF government engaged in nationwide stakeholder consultation. This is it of Mwangala Zalumis speaking, and they are saying they are ready to make this report on the 22nd of April 2025 to the president. Remember, there is an electoral reform technical committee that has been going on and it's been sitting. We have said the electoral reform technical committee is not a product of legality. Mwangala Zalumis has no powers to set up any of such. She's a creature of the Constitution. She is a creature of the ECZ Act and the Electoral Process Act and the Electoral Act. She can't attempt to change herself. And I gave an example that the Electoral Reform Technical Committee that we had in 2004, Mwangala Zalumis was privileged to head it. She was appointed by President Levi Mwanawasa under the Inquiries Act, and it had various stakeholders away from ECZ. I remember that ECZ were mayor secretariat. So the process that Mwangala Zalumis has engaged in is not legal. So even its outcome cannot be legal. But you're saying this report will be ready and it will be handed over to the president on April 22, and that then they will give the delimitation report that was done by the PF. They say they are also doing some consultations and reviews and to be given to the president. Ministry of Home Affairs has also announced that they've set aside 440 million kwacha to begin NRC issuance countrywide to prepare for the Electoral Commission of Zambia as it is renewing voters and the register that the youngsters that are below the age, that are above the age of 16 and could be 18 by next year should register as voters. So the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwamba, announced that he has set aside 440 million kwacha and that the NRC issuance exercise will begin. I think this is what we should do. Concentrate on the register, concentrate on voter awareness and on preparations for elections for 2026, 1 year, 5 months remaining. You cannot begin to engage in a rushed and hurried process, then to carry alongside these huge preparations that come once in 5 years, you begin to do the constitutional reforms. What are you reforming? What's the agency? What are you rushing for? What clauses do you want to change that may impact on the elections of 2026? Clearly none, because all the issues that you wish to tackle require exhaustive approach, require exhaustive mandate, require that there is multi-stakeholder engagement and awareness before we can arrive at consensus. And like Laz has stated, and I also agree, is that we should not engage in piecemeal amendment of the Constitution. We should engage in wholesome engagement, wholesome review of the Constitution, including Article, Part 3 of our Constitution that holds the Bill of Rights. I think that's where the concerns are, to hold the executive accountable, to hold the police accountable. We need to tighten our rights and our freedoms so that we don't descend into dictatorship and tyranny, as we are seeing. It's the weaknesses there. The prized carrot that they've presented to Zambians is that they want to delimitate constituencies and wards, and they are saying there are certain constituencies that are so vast that even the amount of CDF allocated is not enough. It cannot be not enough, but government at the center and at local government have capacity to make development. CDF is not a tool to develop. CDF is complementary. CDF is not decentralization. CDF cannot develop the country. It's complementary in nature. And our president and his team don't seem to understand. They think CDF is a local government. The local government has its own mandate, its own technocrats, its own budget to bring development to the districts. So even the argument of delimitation of constituencies and wards is not an urgent matter, because this is a highly political matter. Where do you draw the lines? Who do you exclude? Who do you add? Which constituencies and wards do you create? From which regions? You are walking into serious political strife. Delimitation exercise is a very sensitive matter. In fact, the delimitation of constituencies and wards do not mean the creation of new constituencies and wards. That should be made very clear. Let me repeat. The delimitation of constituencies and wards should not mean that you have to create new wards and new constituencies. If, for example, let's take, for example, Mandevu. If there are communities that have extended, Kabanana is under Katuba, you can delimitate the population that is now under Katuba to be under Katuba constituencies, and you remove them from Mandevu constituencies. If you have people spilling over Kanyama ward into Chawama, the Makeni area and that entire area, or spilling over into Chilanga, you can delimitate like that and section out without creating new constituencies. So there is a folly approach, and if you read the law, I took time to read the law, and I took time to call some lawyers. They said, no, delimitation of constituencies and wards do not mean creation of new constituencies and wards. In fact, the exercise is only supposed to be done once every 10 years. We just created 6 constituencies in 2021. Has it been 10 years? No.
From the heart of Zambia's natural wonders comes a new chapter in our currency. Introducing the new currency family, a tribute to our land, our heritage, and our future.
Wait a minute, something looks different. Mulibwanji, Zambia. I'm the new kid in town 500 kwacha. Designed with advanced security features like the color shifting ink, raised textures, and the secure watermark. I proudly showcase Victoria Falls and the mighty buffalo, symbols of our nation's strength and beauty. Let me introduce you to my friends, your new currency family.
I carry the mighty rhino and the breathtaking Kalambo Falls, symbols of resilience and natural wonder.
I highlight Zambia's economic resilience alongside the Thornycroft giraffe and Sioma Falls. And remember, Zambia's new kwacha banknotes may have a fresh design, but their value remains unchanged.
I celebrate Zambia's unique wildlife. Look at my black-cheeked lovebirds and Lumangwe Falls.
Hey Zambia, I'm the 20 kwacha note, showcasing the rare black lechwe and the powerful Chishimba Falls.
Hi there, I'm the new 10 kwacha note, featuring the graceful pangolin and the stunning Kawelume Falls. I'm here to make everyday transactions safe and easy.
And don't forget us, 5 kwacha and 2 kwacha are now coins, making everyday transactions easier.
The new currency will officially launch on the 31st of March 2025. For a full year, the existing notes will run alongside the new currency, making the transition easy for everyone. Zambia's currency is more than money. It's our story, reflecting our present and securing our future. Kwacha Ngwe, embracing our heritage.
Oh, thank you very much. I just had the technical glitch there. And that's one of the topics we're discussing anyway. The Bank of Zambia have launched a new family of currencies and we'll be dealing with that matter. So delimitation, we should be very clear, doesn't mean creation of new constituencies and new wards. That is one of the processes of the delimitation process. It should never end to creating of new constituencies. And remember what we said, the ramifications. We now have 166 parliament. Remember, we have elected officials of 156. We used to have 150. Now there are 156 because new constituencies were created, 6 of them, including Lusangazi. I think in Lusaka we created, is it Mwembeshi, and so we created about 6 new constituencies, so it's 156. Then the president nominates 8. Then you have members of parliament. The speaker is a member of parliament. The 2 deputies are members of parliament, so it comes to 166. That house is already full. There's been proposals that we create a new parliament, we build a new parliament house. And that will require a lot of money. So you want to expand through this delimitation exercise, to expand it to another 100 so that the number comes to 256. Because we know that the president wants to expand the nomination from 8 nominated MPs to over 20. They were saying, no, there's a ratio of 5.3%, so we can't go beyond 10. We want to accomplish. What's 5.3% of 256? So why are you saying that we can't go beyond 10? It depends with the number. What if you have 500 MPs? That 5.1%, again, the numbers will be increased. So don't take the interpretation where they're saying it can be more than 10 nominated MPs. It can be, because they're planning to expand it to 256, where they will have 10 seats for persons with disabilities, 10 seats for the youths, 10 seats for women. The president then can nominate up to 20. Then the delimitation exercise is supposed to deliver another 40 or 50 new constituencies. So you will have our parliament expanded from 166. The estimation is that it will go to 256. Is that a matter our people can afford? Can our people afford that? A Land Cruiser for each MP. Can our people afford that? Can our people afford each new MP, 100 of them, the allowances, the gratuities that they get? Can our people afford that? So clearly the issues that they've stated are not compelling. They're saying we need to amend Article 52, Sub-Article 6, where it mandates ECZ to cancel election. This has been cured. If you look at the various constitutional rulings and judgments on Kwacha and Kabushi by-elections, Malanji and Boma and Lusambo seats, all these issues were dealt with. So the issues of an independent resigning, the issue of ECZ's discretion, and we've seen it in by-elections where ECZ has begun to ignore when someone withdraws from an election, and they would just ignore that letter. They are relying on these various constitutional court judgments that were passed. So we need to study what were those various constitutional rulings and judgments, because the rulings and judgments become part of the Constitution. You can't ignore what the Constitutional Court did. It interpreted the Constitution. So most of these issues that they want amended have been dealt with. Then they want to amend the electoral system. Now that's a big one. That's a very big one. You require, I think, wide consultations with all stakeholders. That MPs should sit in council, come on. And that the determination of election petition between 14 days to 90 days may not be enough, and they want to amend that. We should understand that the real reason they want these constitutional amendments is what we've heard. President Hakainde Hichilema wants to guarantee a majority in the next government. We know on the wings they want to amend the constitution. Remember the clauses we've been talking about that they've targeted? They want to remove term limit, that the president can stand as many as he can, like Rwanda can, like Japan can, like German can, like UK can. They want to remove the term limits. They're arguing that the 5-year two-term limit cannot deliver development in our country. They are saying because it engages the president in an election cycle the entire 10 years. This country decided. Ghana has 4 years. The US, the most developed economy in the world, has 4 years. And they deliver. And there's a young man in Burkina Faso. 2 years. The young man in Burkina Faso has demonstrated that you can transform the country. So it's just a mindset issue. I remember Mr. Sata used to talk about 90 days, and he delivered in 90 days. Most of the things, remember Mr. Sata was just president for 3 years, but he probably achieved more than any other president in the duration in comparison. So the issue of 7 years, which they want to tamper with, no. They want to remove the issue of the vice president that should not be running mate. They're afraid that you can have a rogue vice president who can disagree or disobey with the president, and the process to remove them is very difficult because it would require an impeachment. But Zambians have learned. We had Mwanawasa who had up to 5 vice presidents in a short duration of 7 years. Now, our people want credibility. They want the system that checks itself. That's why the vice president has to be elected together with the president, that he has as wide the mandate as the president. That way, it's an undertaking for internal checks and balances within the system. Even MPs, the behavior of a nominated MP and the behavior of an elected MP, you can see the difference. The other one is under the discretion of the president. The other one is under the discretion of the people. So you don't want to compromise systems. We are supposed to be strengthening systems. That is why I was saying the remarks from Mulala, from ZCTU, and from NGOCC, I don't think they really reflect the views of those organizations. So if you are constitution one, we ought to be very alert. Let me discuss the last item, and then I'll invite you to participate in the discussion. During the conference that took place in Tanzania, the Mission Africa Energy Summit, President Hichilema attended that conference. It was there between January 27th to 28th, 2025 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And on the sideline, King Letsie, the third of Lesotho, informed the president that, Mr. President, I've got invitations from His Majesty King Lubosi Mwiko II, who's hosting the 2025 Kuomboka-Kufuluhela ceremony. And the invitation is also backed by another invitation from, Mwamba Chitimukulu-Kanyantamanga II. So His Majesty King Letsie III of Lesotho informed President Hakainde Hichilema that I have these invitations and I want to come, Mr. President. Remember, this is a head of state. The king is a head of state in Lesotho and Swaziland. Although Eswatini, which is Swaziland, is an absolute monarchy. This one is like the UK, the one in Swaziland, in Lesotho, sorry. The king is head of state, but of course he has a very vibrant prime minister, and they share executive powers and the running of day-to-day elections. Of government. So the king, King Letsie III of Lesotho, informed the president that, Mr. President, I've got invitations from His Majesty King Lubosi Mwiko II and a support letter from Mwamba Chitimukulu-Kanyantamanga II that there is a ceremony that the Litunga is hosting on the weekend of April, and they've invited me to be the guest of honor, the special guest of honor. But because he's head of state, he just can't come to Zambia. He's head of state. So he asked the president. This was on the margins of the Energy Summit that was held in Dar es Salaam. And what did we see? The following day, 2 days later, on the 3rd of February, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Relations in Lesotho issued this statement. They confirmed that, His Majesty King Letsie III and President Hakainde Hichilema held a bilateral meeting that culminated into high prospects and deepened bilateral cooperation between the two states. And the leaders also exchanged the importance of cooperation in areas that include intra-Africa trade, sharing of water resources, electricity, mining, irrigation, agriculture, and cultural heritage. And he said, Your Excellency, to this effect, I've got these invitations from His Majesty King Lubosi Mwiko and Mwamba Chitimukulu-Kanyantamanga II for me to come and grace the 2025 Kuomboka-Kufuluhela ceremony. I have posted this letter on my page. You can see it. It was issued on 3rd February. And yesterday, I got a call from a friend of mine from Lesotho, from the Kingdom of Lesotho, the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho. You are aware that I was Zambia's ambassador to Lesotho. I was accredited to Lesotho. I was Zambia's ambassador to South Africa, but I had extra accreditation to Madagascar and to Lesotho. And this friend of mine called me, and let me back up. I used to go to Lesotho very often because Lesotho had fallen into instability in 2018. And the army commander was shot dead by 2 lieutenants. And this was the 3rd army commander that was killed in a period of 3 years. So the killing of army commanders, the infighting between the police and the army in Lesotho caused such serious instability that it destabilized government, and SADC had to come in. We had to take a military mission into SADC to stabilize Lesotho. And President Edgar Lungu at the time was chair of the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security. And the meetings were numerous. So at many times, President Edgar Lungu delegated either the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Harry Kalaba at the time, or myself. But mostly it was myself who went and presented the president. And there was a process we had started to professionalize the police and the army, and we had brought in SADC to keep the peace. And we had started a political process involving all stakeholders from the church, from government, from civil society, from human rights organization. And we were always at the high table with South Africa, who were managing that process. So I'm very familiar with Lesotho. The call from Lesotho, therefore, is not strange, because I was very often on national duties. I remember even a privileged time where Angola, because Angola, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has his own plane. The president in Angola has his own plane. The vice president has his own plane. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has his own plane. The Minister of Foreign Affairs came and gave me a lift, picked me up from Johannesburg, and we flew into Lesotho together, into the kingdom of Lesotho together. So I got this call from Maseru that the king has been ready to come. They had agreed with President Hakainde Hichilema during the bilateral meeting they had in Tanzania. And the king wants to come. But he's been informed that Lusaka is quiet. You know, in diplomacy, silence can mean a yes or a no. So, for example, if I've been appointed as ambassador, for example, President Hichilema had difficulties to get an ambassador in South Africa. He appointed the first one. South Africa was quiet for 4 or 5 months. They realized this is a no. He appointed another. South Africa was quiet the entire 3 months because I think they made mistakes. They appointed Zambian nationals based in South Africa. The folly there is that when they are doing the security clearance, you might have tickets, you could have been arrested, you might have a bad name. So usually in diplomacy, we never get a resident in that area. That's why you could see Letsie Munsha being taken to Canada, because the security clearance for him to Australia, the security clearance in Canada might actually be difficult because he's been living there for the last 5-10 years. Nga talipilama ticket ya traffic offense. Nga talipilama bills. Nga wala mshapo evict. All those things reflect of who an ambassador is. So there has been silence from Zambia. Today, I therefore wrote that article on my page to say Zambia has blocked the king from attending the ceremony, the Kuomboka ceremony. And this evening, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Zambia issued a statement, and they said, no. You are lying. Emmanuel Mwamba is lying. Kaini propagandist. Stefan Wanjita. It's actually President Hichilema who invited the Lesotho king on behalf of the Litunga. Well, that invitation could be true, but it's false, as I have demonstrated a month before, as I've just discussed. And there's a letter from Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Lesotho. They are the ones that said, the Litungas invited me. If there was an invitation from President Hakainde Hichilema, it's just a formality. When this statement came out, I called my source in Maseru, Lesotho, and they said, look, do you know that an invitation that arrives late is a no invitation at all? Do you know it's one of the ways to come and claim that we sent the invitation, but it was lost in the mail? This was a head of state expected to come to Lusaka. So that invitation, if it has been made so that the logistics are not made in time for the king to make it to Mongu, to Lusaka and Mongu. So even this is just a cover-up. They are saying, no, they issued the statement and the king has expressed concern that he's got other undertakings. How can the king of Lesotho have other undertakings? He's the one that said, Mr. President, I've got these invitations and I've got intimation. Mr. President, I want to accept the invitation. He was informing his fellow head of state, I've got this invitation from your nationals, and this is very important. You know, Swaziland, Lesotho, and Barotseland have a special, Botswana and Matebele land. These have special relationship for the last 150 years. So you can't stop those relationships. Remember, even the Litunga is one of the founders of political parties in Southern Africa, including the ANC that was founded in 1912. You find that the Litunga is a founder member among the kings that founded the African National Congress. The Litunga is listed among those kings, from Zululand and from Botswana, from Zambia. So there is that special relationship. I think that's why King Letsie III was willing to come to this forum, to come and grace the occasion. You have seen when we have Gawaundi, where 3 presidents from Malawi, from Mozambique and Zambia join in the Gawaundi the Kulamba ceremony in Katete. These are cultural ties. So government has just stopped the process. They've stopped it in a diplomatic way. If they issued an invitation for the president, I would challenge them, publish the invitation. Show us the date of that invitation. Show us confirmation when Lesotho received this. Don't try to make us look liars when we have information, when there are public statements that were issued by Lesotho, and there are logistical arrangements that were in high gear. It was just the arrival of the king. This deception is not good. Up to now, the BRIE have not even informed us who the official guest of honor is, because they've been waiting upon the 2 governments to resolve the issue of the king coming over as guest of honor. So mwebantu wakwalesa, ububu fibate mwa, some things are too serious. Let's not take the lies and propaganda to international matters that hold bilateral relations, like in this case. Let us now deal with the last one, the issue of the currency. The issue of the currency, I think, is very important. Let me see if I can play the video, but we played it already. Where is my video?
From the heart of Zambia's natural wonders comes a new chapter in our currency. Introducing the new currency family, a tribute to our land, our heritage, and our future.
Wait a minute, something looks different. Mulibwanji, Zambia. I'm the new kid in town, 500 kwacha. Designed with advanced security features like the color shifting ink, raised textures, and a secure watermark. I proudly showcase Victoria Falls and the mighty buffalo, symbols of our nation's strength and beauty. Let me introduce you to my friends, your new currency family.
I carry the mighty rhino and the breathtaking Kalambo Falls, symbols of resilience and natural wonder.
I highlight Zambia's economic resilience alongside the Thornycroft giraffe and Sioma Falls. And remember, Zambia's new kwacha banknotes may have a fresh design, but their value remains unchanged. I celebrate Zambia's unique wildlife. Look at my black-cheeked lovebirds and Lumangwe Falls.
Hey Zambia, I'm the 20 kwacha note, showcasing the rare black Letsie and the powerful Hichilema Falls.
Hi there, I'm the new 10 kwacha note, featuring the graceful pangolin and the stunning Kawelume Falls. I'm here to make everyday transactions safe and easy.
And don't forget us. 5 kwacha and 2 kwacha are now coins, making everyday transactions easier.
The new currency will officially launch on the 31st of March 2025. For a full year, the existing notes will run alongside the new currency, making the transition easy for everyone. Zambia's currency is more than money. It's our story, reflecting our present and securing our future. Kwacha Ngwe, embracing our heritage.
Thank you very much. That's a promo from Bank of Zambia. I wish they could support the program mine. But I thought that we'd take their side before I come in. So Bank of Zambia launched a family of new currency or new banknotes. The notes were 6, a 500 kwacha, a 200 kwacha, a 100 kwacha, a 50 kwacha, a 20 kwacha, and a 10 kwacha. And then 6 coins, a 5 kwacha, a 2 kwacha, a 1 kwacha, a 50 ngwe, 10 ingwe, and 5 ingwe. They are calling them heritage series because they are featuring waterfalls and some heritage sites. Now, it's a choice of those that has brought a huge debate. First of all, the new currency is very strange. It is very short for the 10 kwacha, and then, the 500 kwacha is the longest. So it's going like that. 10 kwacha is shorter, followed by 20 kwacha, 50 kwacha, 100 kwacha, 200 kwacha, until 500 kwacha. So the 500 kwacha is the longest. Then the so-called heritage series. Now, government has been accused, first of all, for us, our very big concern is that if you look at the new currency, it was signed by the governor in 2024. So when they were telling us in February, they had already done the procurement, and remember the procurement was not public, against procurement processes, against spending of public resources. You heard those issues of who even prints our money. This time, no one even knows who printed our money. There was no public tender. They did a direct bidding like they are doing in fertilizer, like they are doing on all these big projects. They are just calling matters secretly, and that's where we even call for corruption. So number one, the process was not transparent. The procurement process was not competitive. We don't know how much they have spent on changing this currency. That's number one concern. Number two concern, heritage series. Who did you consult? If you were to remove, for example, the freedom statue, you replace it with Ingombe Day. Who did you consult? Didn't you think that it was important to call stakeholders? When you do the consultation, it removes the after issues because everyone is on board. You've carried everyone on board. If you are to put watermarks and people are suspecting on those watermarks, there's just not the ego, but there's also the head of the president. Seemingly a head of President Hichilema is among the security features. Why are you allowing those speculations? Because you consulted no one. As a family, mwafipanga. You said, for freedom statue, we can put Ingombe Day. I agree. Ingombe Day is one of the most important heritage sites in Southern Africa, not just in Zambia. But when you don't consult, it is a problem. They will accuse you of setting up a regional currency, that this currency just reflects your region. To avoid all this and to embark on all discussions, I think consultation was very important. Today, a priest sent to me what he suspects are Freemasons symbols on the new currency. He says, look at this. This looks like the eye. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this symbol. And he has married them. If you Google Masonic symbols. And truly you can see them when you see the comparison. The choice, like I said, of the waterfalls and Ingombeilede and other issues that are on the currency. Then the quality and color, it doesn't reflect our national colors in any way. We've had history of our currency. These are just strange. Do our people, especially but Gen Z, even know which Zaire this was, what Zaire is? But someone said that Zaire, you know. So first of all, the lack of consultation has brought this backlash, this rejection. It doesn't matter what PR you will do, because you didn't consult sufficiently among stakeholders, you have these fallouts. Let's open the lines. I want to hear from you. The number to call is 0973 078082. 0978 3082. 0973 078082. Please, let's hear from you. I've presented 3 critical issues and join in the debate. Join in the debate.
When you are in public office, you must have self-censure, self-control, not to overindulge, not to extend long hours. In cabinet, somebody is sleeping at 10 hours. The question is that, where were they? At 10 hours, if you can start gonking there, to me, that is a crime, a serious crime. So how do you participate in a meeting where at 10 hours in a cabinet meeting you are sleeping? Just come on. What's the issue? Self-control, indulgence, self-control. The message is that you are not interested in the deliberation of cabinet on behalf of all of this. So why are you sitting there? Self-control. Even the Bible says, if you overindulge, you destroy yourself. Even if you have a good brain, you destroy yourself. I chose to say this in public. I've been saying it to my colleagues over and over.
Okay, please make the call. Sorry, I missed another call. Someone is saying, Ambassador, what are you talking about? Here is what I'm talking about. The constitution making process. Major organizations, ZCTU and NGOCC, have supported the process that we should have the constitution before elections, a new constitution as amended. But of course, the major stakeholders in our country, LAS, over 13 credible NGOs, not Ayakufwaya, have rejected this. The 3 mother bodies have rejected this. What is your view on this matter? The matter of preventing King Letsie of the Royal Kingdom of Lesotho from attending the 2025 Kuomboka-Kufuluhela traditional ceremony is another matter, and I've just read 2 letters, one from Ministry of Foreign Affairs here, and the earlier letter from Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Lesotho. Then the currency notes, the poor designs, the poor choice of national symbols, the lack of consultation, the secrecy surrounding this process. Yeah, sorry again I missed this call. Maybe I put it on a bit of a ringer, or I put it here where I can actually see it. Yeah. So please call. Sorry I missed that call. I was trying to read where you can contribute. Do you want to contribute on the constitutional making process? Do you want to speak about the invitation of His Majesty King Letsie of Lesotho to the Kuomboka-Kufuluhela traditional ceremony of 2025? Or do you wish to discuss the concerns around the currency? Because we say first the design is poor, the choice of national symbols is suspicious, there was no consultation, strange features like the so-called Masonic features that have appeared on the new currency. What are your views? Yeah, okay. I don't know what's happening to my lines. Keeps on dropping the lines. Yeah. This one says, we are not picking up. I'm sorry, now I'm late, I'm holding the phone. Please call. Please call. Please call. Someone has sent me a story from last year that the president wasn't invited last year, but he forced himself. He said he was going to go as an ordinary tourist. Why doesn't president deal with these matters properly? I want a voice, not text. People will think it's me talking. Good evening and welcome to today's program. You are first caller.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is Brian and I'm calling you from Olympia.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Yes.
I would like to contribute on the Constitution amendment process. Now, if I can go a little bit back, when PAF introduced Bill 10, civil society organization, the opposition then, who are UPND, opposed and fought this bill to the point where even though it had progressive clauses in it, it had to fall. Fast forward to today, we are seeing the same thing happen where they have brought up this bill late, with just a year till we get to the next elections. Again, we are seeing opposition leaders and civil society grouping fighting this bill. Now, what I've seen with UPND is that normally if they want to push for something, they don't so much care for what anybody else has to say. And in this case, they have these numbers in parliament. Also, some PF members who are compromised that they will use to pass this law. I can cite an example of the cybersecurity bill, which they've currently passed. You had stakeholders oppose that bill, and they went on to push for it. So the views that are coming from opposition and civil society organizations speaking for the interest of people are welcome, but seen also from a different angle, since these guys have got numbers in parliament and it looks like they are determined to go ahead with this process regardless of what anybody else has to say. Is this not the right time that the opposition maybe can sit down and see what progressive clauses they can contribute in this bill? Other than that, but when you know that as time goes, they'll still pass the law the way they want it to, or they will still amend the constitution just as they have planned to amend. So this is my call to the opposition that maybe they can try to come to the table and be able to see how they can work together. Because in this country, one thing that has been also predominant is that we politic, even from the days of UPND, so many things that we would have done progressively, they couldn't go through because there's this mistrust that we have for one another. You know, it's as long as it's not being done by A, then B will not conquer with it. As long as it's not being done by B, then A will not conquer with it. I look forward to a time that we can come together as a nation, especially on matters of common ground, so that we are able to put the interest of our country ahead of partisan interest. That is my contribution.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Brian, clean politics is possible. Bipartisan approach is possible. But are the people with the levers of power willing to engage? All you see is arrogance. All you see is display of strength and the arrogance of numbers in parliament. You see that there is polarization, huge polarization between the opposition and ruling party. In the past, we saw President Frederick Chiluba call for inter-party dialogue. That's why the Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue was created. It's supposed to foster and reduce political temperature in our country. That on major issues, frequently the summit of presidents must meet, and from the opposition and the president, they tell each other what is wrong. You guys are engaged in toxic politics. You are undermining the work of me as government. They also tell him, you, Mr. President, you are engaged in destroying our democracy. So there is a way in which you can do, Brian, if we could practice our politics in a very clean manner. We are not. The environment is highly polarized, highly toxic. In fact, you need to pray with me. You need to pray for me. We need to pray for one another for us that are doing this politics. The environment literally means life and death. It's a highly politicized. The dangers of being in politics currently can cost your life, So yes, it's a hope that we can have clean politics, but this depends on the guys that have the power. Are they willing to practice clean politics? Are they willing to engage? Are they willing to build consensus? Or they'll display arrogance that we are in power and there's nothing you can do? So please call 0973-078082. You can reach us on that number. You've sent a lot of messages, but I don't want to read these messages. I want the calls, because the messages will look like I am reading my own thoughts. I want people to hear your voice. I don't know if there's a problem of a network in Zambia, but you can call on 0973-078082. Come to the table and let's discuss. The Kuomboka ceremony, I have a beautiful Kuomboka song here that I wanted to play that, should celebrate and commemorate the Kuomboka ceremony. That's due this weekend. But, I remember that when you play on Facebook, they will literally flag that song and, it can affect the broadcast. So for that reason, I haven't played that song. Okay, so in the event that there are no calls, I'll be rushing for another meeting in the next 10-15 minutes. For me, that will be fine. At least we delivered, the numbers are good, people are watching. In cases, hope tawaliangalira kuli phone number ya ndaini. Kaya is a local Zambian number. Okay, there's a call coming in. Again, it's cut. So we were discussing the upcoming trip of King Letsie III to be a special guest to the Litunga during the ceremony, Kuomboka ceremony, but we've discussed that this is no longer possible because there seems to have been issues. It's like someone was not willing to ensure that the king arrived on time. We are discussing the issue of the constitutional making process, and then the family of these new banknotes that have been launched. We have new notes, 500 kwacha, 200 kwacha, 100 kwacha, 50 kwacha, 20 kwacha, 10 kwacha. There are concerns around. I seem to have a problem with my phone. I don't know why. Calls are coming in, and as soon as I tried to answer, it's cut. Keep on trying before I close. Keep on trying before I close. I hope they are not frustrating. Let me see my messages on Facebook. I can answer those messages on Facebook. Maybe I can answer because on Facebook you can see the other messages. Oh, sorry. There's feedback. Sorry. Let me just reduce the volume. Okay. 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 Oh, and Emmanuel just come back to Zambia. Oh, I will come back to Zambia. It's my country. I speak the way I speak while I'm outside the country, and even when I'm not in the country, I still speak the same way. And I'll come and discuss what I'm doing here and when I'm coming. So if you want that particular matter, we can have a subject and we can discuss that matter. Okay. Oh, there's a call. There's a man. This man keeps on calling. Let me just call him back. Sorry, I was trying to get the messages from Facebook. We'll be closing in the next few minutes. Let's just ensure that. Hello?
Hello.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. I noticed that I kept on missing your number when I went to check. Now more calls are coming. I think that the line is now clear. Yeah, please make your contributions quickly.
Okay, this is Mr. Kalaba from within Lusaka.
Yes.
How are you, Emmanuel?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. We are really enjoying these programs.
Thank you.
They are very, very educative in nature. Yeah, let me just speak on the issue of the Constitution. It's very, very sad that we are not seeming like going backwards. Like this government is just insisting that they want to change this Constitution despite not being consultative. I think what they are lacking, like what you have mentioned, is the consultation aspect where they are not able to consult in many, many issues. You should talk about the issue of Constitution, talk about other issues, even the currency. We just see things happening without while when they were in opposition, they were the ones who were actually opposing most of the things because they were given that time to debate on these national issues. But that's what we are now seeing a totally opposite. So I don't know where we are going, Mwamba. We are very worried that if this constitution is going to be passed before the election, it will be very, very difficult, I'm sure, for us to make any changes when it comes to governance. So as long as we have proper systems in place, we'll be able to change governments anytime. Because when we give them this chance of, it's like you have signed a contract. When you are working, at the end of that contract, they will be able to do evaluation to see what you have done during the time you were contracted. Yeah. So if you have worked well, they will be able to give you another contract. So it's the same thing with the governance. So let them just give us time to debate on these national issues, so that when you do something, it must be something which will cover all of us as a nation. So my prayer is that let them just reach a point where they will be able to start listening from us, because we are the employers. I think it's very, very sad at the moment that they are not consultative.
Yes.
In most of these national issues. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. That was a call, and is echoing what we are all saying, is that let us have wide consultation for this process. This process has lacked consultation. Please call again, call 0973078082. And let's embark on this discussion.
From the heart of Zambia's natural wonders comes a new chapter in our currency. Introducing the new currency family, a tribute to our land, our heritage, and our future.
Wait a minute, something looks different. Mulibwanji, Zambia. I'm the new kid in town, 500 kwacha. designed with advanced security features like the color shifting ink, raised textures, and a secure watermark. I proudly showcase Victoria Falls and the mighty buffalo, symbols of our nation's strength and beauty. Let me introduce you to my friends, your new currency family.
I carry the mighty rhino and the breathtaking Kalambo Falls, symbols of resilience and natural wonder.
I highlight Zambia's economic resilience alongside the Thornycroft Giraffe and Sioma Falls. And remember, Zambia's new kwacha banknotes may have a fresh design, but their value remains unchanged.
I celebrate Zambia's unique wildlife. Look at my black-cheeked lovebirds and Lumangwe Falls.
Hey Zambia, I'm the 20 kwacha note, showcasing the rare black Letsie and the powerful Hichilema Falls.
Hi there, I'm the new 10 kwacha note, featuring the graceful pangolin and the stunning Kawelume Falls. I'm here to make everyday transactions safe and easy.
And don't forget us, 5 kwacha and 2 kwacha are now coins, making everyday transactions easier.
The new currency will officially launch on the 31st of March 2025. For a full year, the existing notes will run alongside the new currency, making the transition easy for everyone. Zambia's currency is more than money. It's our story, reflecting our present and securing our future. Kwacha Ngwe, embracing our heritage.
Pesa 1, 2, 3, 4. Pa quick play loop. Loop close. Okay.
Self-censure. When you are in public office, you must have self-censure, self-control, not to overindulge, not to extend long hours. In cabinet, somebody is sleeping at 10 hours. The question is that, where were they? At 10 hours, if you can start conking there, to me, that is a crime, a serious crime. So how do you participate in a meeting where at 10 hours in a cabinet meeting you are sleeping? Just come on. What's the issue? Self-control, indulgence, self-control. The message is that you are not interested in the deliberation of cabinet on behalf of all of this. So why are you sitting there? Self-control. Even the Bible says, if you overindulge, you destroy yourself. Even if you have a good brain, you destroy yourself. I chose to say this in public. I've been saying it to my colleagues over and over. Censure. When you are in public office, you must have self-censure, self-control, not to overindulge, not to extend long hours. In cabinet, somebody is sleeping at 10 hours. The question is that, where were they? At 10 hours, if you can start conking there, to me, that is a crime, a serious crime. So how do you participate in a meeting where at 10 hours in a cabinet meeting you are sleeping? Just come on. What's the issue? Self-control, indulgence, self-control. The message is that you are not interested in the deliberation of cabinet on behalf of all of this. So why are you sitting there? Self-control. Even the Bible says, if you overindulge, you destroy yourself. Even if you have a good brain, you destroy yourself. I chose to say this in public. I've been saying it to my colleagues over and over. Censure. When you are in public office, you must have self-censure, self-control, not to overindulge, not to extend long hours. In cabinet, somebody is sleeping at 10 hours. The question is that, where were they? At 10 hours, if you can start conking there, to me, that is a crime, a serious crime. So how do you participate in a meeting where at 10 hours in a cabinet meeting you are sleeping? Just come on. What's the issue? Self-control, indulgence, self-control. The message is that you are not interested in the deliberation of cabinet on behalf of all of this. So why are you sitting there? Self-control. Even the Bible says, if you overindulge, you destroy yourself. Even if you have a good brain, you destroy yourself. I chose to say this in public. I've been saying it to my colleagues over and over.